Alright, so for today's video, I'm going to be going over Stacker's 100 best thriller novels of all time. But this video is going to be a bit different from the last one because for the last video, for the sci-fi novels, I browsed the list once. Today we're going to go into a blind, completely blind, all the reactions, all the stuff. So I have no idea if it's the same writer of the other list. I don't know if it's going to start with number 1, but I'm hoping the list doesn't start off with something really lame, like the Goldfinch or Da Vinci Code. So without further ado, let's look at the best 100 thrillers of all time by Stacker. It's Madison Troyer. Nice. Let's see what the first entry is. I'm excited. Gone Girl. Yes! I love Gone Girl. Oh my god, I'm so happy to see Gone Girl number 1. Let's get into a little short story. Gone Girl is the book that got me back into reading. For a while, I was reading a lot of YA novels, and I was getting burned out to the point where I didn't want to read anymore. So I sort of switched over to just reading every graphic novel available, like everything, superheroes, contemporaries. And Gone Girl was the book that sort of got me back into reading because, it was a domestic thriller, but it's also a little bit more. It has that nice, sort of dark look into the ugly part of Americana, and it takes place around the recession, so it has that sort of real world thing, but it's really developed characters and a great villain. So Gone Girl, I'm really excited for the rest of this list. Moving on, 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This is the one where the time traveler goes back in time to stop JFK from getting shot, I believe. I did own this, but I sold it to a friend. I don't know if I want to put it back on my list because it's really long, but it's nice to see that for number 2. A Stephen King thriller, okay. Number 3, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I own this one. It's in my little pile over there. It's supposed to be really good, but it's pretty high for number 3, but that's okay. That's the one where a woman shoots her husband like 7 times in the face, but then becomes mute or something. John Grisham's A Time to Kill. I think I've seen the movie of this. The book, okay, number up there. Number 4, that's a pretty high list, but list entry, but that's fine. John Grisham, he writes a lot. Let's just say he writes a lot of legal thrillers. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie's number 5. Influential, used to be called 10 Little Indians. But without this, we wouldn't have like so many murder mystery stories. So, an iconic novel for number 5 is okay. This one's also on my pile to read. Number 6, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John le Carré. I have a couple of Carré novels on my shelf, but not this one. The movie was boring. Don't even pretend that it wasn't, okay? The movie was really slow. So I'm hoping if I ever read the novel, it'll be better because the movie was really boring. Let's not get into that. Number 7, Before I Go to Sleep. Ugh. Okay, now this book was pretty big when it came out, and I did watch the movie first and then the book, but the book was not as good as the movie, if I'm remembering things right. I read the book after. That's too high, because I don't like that book. That book is, it's very popular. It did get really good actors and actresses for the movie, but that book was lame. I'm not holding back. Before I Go to Sleep is lame. Moving on before I get into that too much. The Couple Next Door. For number 8. Oh man. Ooh, The Couple Next Door is a terrible book, and it's a debut from the author. I do like Shari LaPena's second book. It's okay, but there's no good reason why this one should be there. I haven't read her new stuff, but man, no. I disagree with that a lot. All right, number 9 is The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. She is very, iconic. She's written a lot of stuff that I've seen movies of, like Two Faces of January and stuff like that. But I haven't seen the movie Talented Mr. Ripley. This book isn't really on my list, but she wrote 22 books according to the article, and it's the first of her Ripley series, so maybe it's something I can check out. We'll see. I'll consider putting that on the list. The Black Echo by Michael Connelly is number 10. Never heard of this one. It is, it's Connolly's debut novel. It's about a LA police detective trying to solve the murder of a fellow Vietnam veteran. It won an Edgar Award. And it was the inspiration for the 3rd season of the show Bosch on Amazon Prime. Never heard of this one. I don't know if I'll add that. I do like certain Michael Connolly books. If he wrote The Lincoln Lawyer. Yeah, I like The Lincoln Lawyer, so. Lincoln Lawyer's number 11. Nice, nice. I've seen the movie, but I haven't read the book, but I do own it in the pile. So, yeah. That's kind of weird how they're really close together at number 10 and 11, but that's okay. Number 12, We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I guess this one's considered more of a bigger thriller than Haunting of Hill House, but Hill House might be considered a horror, completely different, even though it's like a lesser known. But I have seen the movie version of this. I didn't quite, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't amazing. So I don't know if I check out the book, to be honest. We'll see. Moving on. Harlan Coben, Tell No One. Number 13. It's about a man. Oh, wait, I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie. Oh, I did not know that. So there's a French movie called Tell No One that came out in 2006 that I really enjoyed. Did not know it was a book written by Harlan Coben. So I'll definitely consider checking out the book for sure. Nice, nice. Jaws by Peter Benchley. Obviously, Jaws is the influence for the excellent Steven Spielberg movie. I don't know if I want to read the book, though, because I don't want to. Moving on. Number 15, In the Woods by Tana French. I have heard of this writer, but haven't delved into it. It's the first novel in her Dublin Murder Squad series. I don't know, that sounds kind of generic, but I prefer standalones for thrillers. I mean, I prefer standalones for thrillers. Number 16, American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Now, this book is actually, I think, my friend's favorite book. He really likes the Bret Easton Ellis' book and movie. He's obsessed with it. He made me read the book. The book is a completely different beast from the movie. The movie, is better in some ways, but the book is also pretty solid too. It's a great satire. I don't know if I would consider it a thriller, but I mean, sure, it's worth reading for sure. It's very terrifying and satirical. I definitely enjoyed American Psycho, the book. Number 17, Dark Matter. No, Dark Matter sucks. I have a whole 8-minute review of this book. I do not like Dark Matter, and it's funny how was this on the best sci-fi list? Dark Matter wasn't on the best sci-fi list. It was on the best thriller because it is more of a thriller with some sci-fi elements. But I did not like this book. Shallow characters. It's only 300 pages. Soft science. Terrible, weak characterization. Very one-dimensional characters. Other characters are just introduced and thrown away. Did not enjoy Dark Matter, and I don't think it should be on. Well, I can see it being on a list, but not number 17. That's a little high. Let's move on before I start ranting. Fight Club is number 18 by Chuck Palahniuk. I don't know if that's a thriller, but sure, it's on my list. We can move on. The Bone Collector by Jeffrey Deaver is number 19. There's a movie, I haven't seen it. I don't know. It's kind of old. 1990s movie. There's also a show. I don't know about that one. That's kind of old. There's a lot of 90s crime thrillers in there, like Silence of the Lambs and Alex Cross. So I don't know if I want to read those because it doesn't really interest me. Silence of the Lambs, number 20. That's a little bit further down than I would have liked because the book's pretty good. I mean, even if you don't look at the movies and all the series and all the stuff, the book is pretty darn good. And it did create an iconic cinematic character. So without the book, we wouldn't have the movie franchises and all that stuff. So number 20 deserves a place on the list for sure. The Firm by John Grisham is number 21. They also made a movie about this one too. It's a legal novel. I don't think I'll read it. I might watch the movie. The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins is number 22. It's about... Doesn't even say what it's about. Wow, Madison, wow. It might... It's not The Woman in Black. The Woman in Black is a ghost story, so I don't even know what this is about. Anyways, we have to move on because there's no information given and I don't know anything about that one. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins as well, number 23. I don't know about doing that. They shouldn't put the same author so close to each other. I mean, it's a detective novel. Very vague descriptions, so Madison didn't do a good job of that this time. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is number 24. I don't know. That's not a thriller. Come on, man. If you walk to your friend's house and they're like, let's watch a thriller, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not a thriller. That's a contemporary. I dispute that book being on this list, not because I have not read it or because I don't think it's good, because I don't think it's a thriller, really. It's more of a drama. Let's move on. That one, no, I don't agree with that at all. Number 25, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. Obviously, a book that big would definitely make it on the list. 25 is a good spot for it because it's really long. I've seen all the movies, but I haven't read any of the books, and I don't plan to. The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton, number 26. See, The Andromeda Strain should be sci-fi. It should have been on the sci-fi list. It's definitely like a pandemic sort of story because it's about an alien germ that's like mutating and stuff like that. The book is really great, but I don't consider it to be a thriller more than a sci-fi, really. But you know what? It's an underrated book, and I don't care. I have read it. It's good. I don't know if I would... It's kind of like Dark Matter as well. Dark Matter is one of those books where it's like... It's got some science, but it is a thriller mostly. Kind of like one of those genre-bending novels that mixes a few things. The Snowman is number... Oh, the Snowman for number 27? Okay. So, like, Joe Nesbo's Harry Hole series is pretty solid. I've read all of them. But The Snowman, I would consider that one of the worst ones. I mean, I don't know why that one's on the list, because there are, like, way better entries from the series. So I dispute that highly. I think The Snowman is only on there because that was the one that they made a movie on. So it's a little bit more popular, maybe. Maybe high, it shouldn't be higher rated than the others, man. Like, number 4 is the best one, in my opinion, and even like the other entries that are not that good are better than The Snowman. And the reason why I don't like The Snowman that much is because it's not an entry of the series where it's very accessible. If you were to just pick up The Snowman and read it, you wouldn't get half the stuff because a lot of the characters had arcs from previous books. So, I mean, it's not a good choice for number for this list because there are better entries. So I definitely dispute this one as well. This list is a roller coaster. Along Came a Spider is number 28. I have read this one. Was this the first? Yeah, it's the first of the Alex Cross series. I thought it was okay. I think I read the first 2 and then I got bored. So I'm not going to continue with the series. But, you know, James Patterson does write a lot of books, so it's hard to keep up. The Alienist by Caleb Carr is number 29. I don't know what this is about. Oh, it's about a newspaper reporter and a psychologist trying to solve a string of gruesome murders. Oh, okay. Oh, and they made a TV show based off of it on TNT. I would consider reading that one. I think, is that the one where they the guy kills children? It might be. And they made a season 2 that sucked, maybe. I'm not sure. But if that is the story I'm thinking of, then I will definitely check out this book. Nice. The Hot Zone by Richard Preston. What is this? Richard Preston, that name's so familiar. Okay, so it's a non-fiction thriller about an outbreak of the Reston virus in Washington, D.C. Oh, wait a second. They made a movie of this, didn't they? It's called Outbreak? Or maybe Outbreak the movie is influenced by this article. So it's a non-fiction thriller. That's a pretty good choice, I guess. Number 30 is kind of high, though. Let's move on. The Elephant Tree by R.D. Ronald. It's his first novel. It's about a police detective, a drug dealer, and a career criminal. And they do stuff. I don't know. I've never heard of this one. I might check it out. We'll see. Standalone. The Day of the Jackal by Frederick Forsyth. I've seen a lot of movies based off all these thrillers, but I haven't checked out the books. I think I might have this one. Yes, I have this one on the shelf right over there. So I'll definitely get around to reading it. Number 33, Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. So it is a thriller. It's not really high stakes, but it's more of family doing things. They made a mini series off of this. I don't know much about it, so I don't know if it counts as a thriller, but it sounds more like a drama. So this one's suspect. Misery by Stephen King. Finally, some more King, because he does a lot of thrillers that are not straight up horrors. So Misery, yeah, we all know what Misery is. Annie Wilkes kidnaps a novel. Well, she doesn't kidnap him. He is in a car accident. She finds him, nurses him back to health, but won't let him leave. So it's a ultimate tribute to the crazy fan. Do own this one. It's on the list. So definitely gonna check that one out. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Interesting. I have not read any of Lisa Jewell's books, but I have like 3 or 4 of them. The Family Upstairs is a newer one, though. It came out in 2019. I do own it. I found it at a thrift shop for $1. So I definitely will check it out because I own it. And I want to get into her as an author. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. 36 is kind of high. I don't like this thriller. It's it is really popular. Like everyone and their mother and their grandmother has probably read this book, but I felt like this one was like a shade lower than Gone Girl, but it just didn't do it for me. But it's a debut, so I cut it some slack, but if it shouldn't be on any great 100 of all time. That's just my opinion. Yeah. The Holdout by Graham Moore is number 37. Came out in 2020. Murder Case. It's about a true crime docuseries that is bringing together the jurors of an infamous case. It's a legal thriller. Graham Moore is a New York Best Times novelist and Academy Award-winning screenwriter. That one sounds interesting. I might check that one out. We'll see. The Guest List by Lucy Foley is number 38. I DNF'd this one. I got 50 pages in. 5 POVs in this story, most of it's backstory, and then you find out more stuff about the murder going down on an island wedding getaway in Ireland. So, yeah, didn't dig this one. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. A classic. I would read it. I don't own it, but I would like to. It's a classic, for sure. Nice choice. Miracle Creek by Angie Kim is number 40. It's a courtroom drama, debut novel. Yeah, okay. It's about a bomb that goes off and kills 2 people in a medical treatment center. Okay, I'm intrigued. I would add that, for sure. The First Karen Slaughter. It's called Triptych. 2006 novel. It's extremely gruesome. Serial killer going after women. Oh, I don't know about that, but I do want to get into this author. I have several of her books, so I might add this one to the list. We'll see. I don't know about the violence. I'm not that into it. Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood is number 42. This is another thriller. They did make a miniseries with one of my favorite actresses in it, so I do own the book. I will read it for sure. Number 43 is The Surgeon by Tess Gerritsen. It's the first book of her Rizzoli Isles series. So it's the, there's a show they made of this, serial killer. And yeah, so I don't know if I'd get into it. I don't really like series. I might watch the show, we'll see. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Now, I have a bit of a weird relationship with this author because he wrote 2 books I don't like and 2 books I thought were okay. But for one of his to show up on the best of all time is kind of weird, especially for number 44. I mean, technically speaking, this would probably be his best book. So yeah, I guess it's not that high up the list. I can forgive this. Moving on. The Whisper Man by Alex North. My friend really likes this book. I definitely will check it out. It is a sort of horror-ish. Oh, it's a serial killer. Yeah. Whispers and stuff. Definitely want to check it out for sure. Also his new book too. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Yep, another literary classic. I was expecting this book to be on this list for sure. You know, it's one of the famous ones. Number 46 isn't a bad place for it. So I'll read this one eventually. A Simple Favor by Darcy Bell. Yeah, a lot of these thrillers all have movie adaptations. It's kind of weird. So this was the one that became the Simple Favor movie with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. So yeah, is this a one-off? I don't know if it's a one-off because like the movie made it seem like it would be a series, but I don't think I'd want to read the book, to be honest. The movie was okay. The first Tom Clancy, Clear and Present Danger, 1989, number 48. Yeah, I guess is a Jack Ryan one. They made a movie with Harrison Ford. So, I mean, at this moment, I'm not really interested in reading any of the Ryan verse, but it's nice to see some representation on there. From Clancy, anyway. We need to talk about Kevin by Lionel Shriver's number 49. I own this one too. It's on my TBR. Very disturbing movie. Really enjoyed it. Really good acting. So definitely want to check out the book. So, not bad. Number 50. We're at the halfway point. The Last Mrs Parish by Liv Constantine. Never heard of this one. It's a psychological suspense novel about a jealous, lonely woman who wants to sort of get herself into the famous Parish family, but she doesn't. Oh, no, I'm not in. Ooh, The Woman in Cabin 10 is number 51. Ruth Ware is definitely an underrated, okay, I guess she's not underrated because I see all of her books at thrift stores, so, but this number 51, I haven't read this one, but nice to see her on the list finally. I don't know if that's her best book. I've only read One by One, which was pretty solid. So it's nice to see other books on the list. So yeah, let's move on. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. It's about a couple and no one else. Oh, this is the worst description I've ever seen. It's literally, okay, I'm going to read it verbatim just to show that Madison did not do a good job this time. In Behind Closed Doors, Jack and Grace have the perfect picture marriage, at least on the outside. What's happening when no one else is looking, however, is an entirely different story. An all too realistic suspenseful thriller, this book has 300,000 ratings on Goodreads. What kind of description is that for a book I've never heard of? I can't know every plot of every book in the last thriller for the last 10 years. That was I don't know anything about the book or the author, but the description for number 52 is awful. Awful. Let's move on. The Zombie Room by R.D. Ronald. Let's see. Its main characters, 3 of them that meet while serving time in prison. They want to run a scam when they get out. But then they run across a sex trafficking operation, and then they have to save a young girl before it's too late. That sounds interesting. I don't know if I'd read it, but it sounds like a pretty solid premise. The Chestnut Man by Soren, oh, I'm not going to get this right, Weistrup? It's Weistrup? It's about like a psychopath going after people. I saw this one, oh, it's they made the TV show The Killing based off of this, so that's the origin of that show. I've seen it a few times at the thrift shops, but I haven't picked it up, so I might next time. We'll see. I don't really like, there's a lot of serial killer books out there, so whenever I just pick up a book and it's just like serial killer, I'm like, oh, okay, but I need a little bit more than that, you know. Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty is number 55. I don't know what this is about, but they made a mini-series. It's a crime thriller, I think. It goes backwards. I don't know, man. It's in its 3rd season. I might watch the show. Probably not. The Last Flight by Julie Clark. The recent one. Came out in 2020. Let's see. 2 women switch places. But they don't really get into the stuff that sounds interesting. I'd check that one out for sure. That sounds good. Adding it to the TBR. Fierce Kingdom by Gin Phillips. I remember reading this book. It's number 57. But it's about a public shooting at a zoo and a mom trying to hide her son from the shooters. And the book starts off pretty good, but then it jumps into 2-3 different perspectives after. Didn't like that. The book's also kind of short and with a lame ending. So I don't agree with that book spot on this list. It was very popular when it came out, but I would not consider it, you know, material to be in the top 100 thrillers of all time. No Exit by Taylor Adams. It's a rather newer one. It came out in 2017. It's number 58. A thriller in a blizzard. She gets to a restaurant with 4 other people. and try to find out which one of them is responsible for the caged girl in a van. No, I don't really like that plot. The Shadows by Alex North. Nice. You know, because I was also interested in this book, but it came out in 2020. It has nothing to do with the other one. This is another standalone. So, sounds good. It's already been added to the TBR. So, A Good Marriage by Kimberly McRae is number 60. Came out recently, 2020. When Amanda Grayson, the wife of her old friend Zach, is found murdered, Lizzie jumps in to defend her pal. While trying to establish his innocence, she finds secrets. That doesn't sound like a very interesting plot. Moving on. Our Man in Havana by Graham Greene. Oh, I like Graham Greene. He writes a lot of spy novels and like spy thrillers, and there's this really good one called Green for Danger. It's about like a guy that kills people using the wrong valve in an operating room. So I would definitely check out those. This one's a satirical story. Oh, I've seen the movie. Oh, this is a great movie. I would definitely read this book. It's about a guy who pretends that he finds like a spy ring. He's a vacuum cleaner salesman, but he keeps asking the MI6 for money because he's trying to pretend that he's found like a spy ring, and he's just using the money for himself. So definitely, yeah, we'll check this one out for sure. Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh is number 62. Probably saying that wrong. It's a literary thriller, darkly comedic. It's about Eileen. She's a secretary at a boys' prison. Oh, I'm bored. No, I'm already out. Sorry. Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi and Kurt Gentry. This is, I think, a nonfiction, right? It's the best-selling true crime book of all time. It's about the Manson murders. I don't know if that's enough to get me interested. We're at number 63, so like we're getting into like the lesser-known ones. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold by John le Carre. I've seen the movie of this too. It is a frosty, atmospheric movie. I don't think I'll read the book. The Broken Girls by Simone St. James is number 65, recent, 2018. It's about a boarding school for troubled girls, and one of the girls disappears. Nah, sounds boring. I don't know. Okay, so like, it's not a fair assumption. I'm obviously going to write these down and do more research later, but Madison Troyer did not leave any like plot details for these. I don't know why, because obviously he doesn't want to give away the book plot, but literally it feels like half of a description. So this is not as good as a sci-fi list. And also I didn't do research ahead of time, so I don't know what's on the list. The Postman Always Rings Twice by James M. Cain. It's an older one. It was banned originally when it came out for being too salacious and violent. They made some movies about it. It's about a drifter who works at a diner, falls in love with the owner's wife, begins an affair, and gets caught up in a murder scheme. Maybe. That's a maybe. Put in the maybe pile. The Dinner by Herman Koch. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, this one sounds good. It's about two families that decide to come over to have dinner, and they're deciding if they should kill their teenage sons because they were both involved in a horrible, life-changing crime. Now that sounds like a good thriller. I would check that. That's added to the TBR. Nice. Room by Emma Donoghue is number 68. Yeah, this one's a pretty harrowing story. I really enjoyed it. The movie was good too. I like both. Definitely solid. 68's kind of lower down the list, but whatever. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie is number 69. So yeah, after I watched the movie and you know the ending, it kind of like you don't want to read the book. And I saw the new movie as well. You know, yeah, I'm not going to read the book probably. The Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum is a very popular book. I think we all know the movie with Matt Damon. I've actually read this book, the whole trilogy, but not any of the ones after the trilogy. The books are pretty solid. They're very different from the movies. I still like them personally, but I can see why it's number 70. It's further down. Pretty solid spy thriller stuff, but completely different plot from the movies. If you want to check them out, they're pretty solid. The Odessa File by Frederick Forsyth. This is about Nazis. A German reporter trying to cover the suicide of a Holocaust survivor. It's like a conspiracy movie. The movie's on my list of movies to watch. I don't know about the book, though. We'll see. Gorky Park by Martin Cruz Smith is number 72. Set in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. 3 murders in Gorky Park. Now, no, I'm not interested. Sue Grafton's A is for Alibi is number 73. First installment of her Alphabet series? No, I'm not in. She didn't finish letter Z as well. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. That's not a thriller. Boo! No. Kazuo Ishiguro's part dystopian sci-fi tale, part mystery thriller. No, I would not consider this a full-on thriller. It's number 74, further down the list, but no. This is also on the sci-fi list, so I don't agree with that entry. Vehemently opposed to it. A Madness of Sunshine by Nalini Singh is number 75. Came out 2019. She's known for the author is known for paranormal romance series, but this is a standalone about a string of murders that terrorize a small, close-knit town. That's it? Maybe. Obviously, the description is not very good, but sounds interesting. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James, number 76. It came out 2020, newer one. Let's see. It's about a woman who's going to investigate the disappearance of her aunt from an inn. It's her second book. That's it. Maybe. I'll add that to the maybe pile. Number 77 is The Great Influenza by John M. Barry. Let's see. It's a virus story. Non-fiction historical thriller. Written in 2004 about the Spanish flu. Nah, I'm out. The Shadow of the Wind. I've heard about this one. I own it. My friend really likes it, but I don't consider it a thriller either. It's more of a literary book. Yeah, that's definitely not a good one. Killing Floor by Lee Child, the first of the Jack Reacher novel series, which I have read 95% of the series. I haven't read the last 2. And now he's moving on to give it to his son. So I don't know about that, because I don't know you. That's my purse. But yeah, Killing Floor is the first book in the series. It's definitely rough around the edges. It's not the best one in the series, obviously, but I think it's just on the list to show that the Jack Reacher novels definitely have some, relevance in the world of crime thrillers, because they're action-heavy thrillers with cool elements. Some might find it pretentious. My friend couldn't get into it, but I mean, Killing Floor itself is not that great, but some of the other entries like 3 and 4 and 5 are pretty good, and further down, there's some solid ones in there, but yeah, I like the Jack Reacher books. They're definitely worth checking into, maybe. Bird Box by Josh Malerman is number 80. I've read this one. It's a horror. That's a horror book. I don't know why you're on here. Don't call it a horror thriller. Nice try. That one's got, like, cosmic creatures that make you go crazy if you look at them. How's that a thriller? That's a horror. Shouldn't be on the list. They should just make a horror list. All right, Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. So honestly, I thought Da Vinci Code would be number 1 because it's a lame pick. But Angels and Demons is the first one of the Robert Langdon books. So I guess if they ever pick a series, they just go with the first one, even if the first one's not the best, which is weird. But number 81 is pretty low. But yeah, I can see that. But I haven't read these, and I don't plan to. But I do enjoy Dan Brown's Deception Point and Digital Fortress. Those are his standalone thrillers. So I would put those on this list instead, because no one wants to sit down and read 5 books that are 20 years old. Oh, come on, you put Da Vinci Code right after. No, this shouldn't do this. Da Vinci Code's number 82. You know that I hate padding out lists. Shouldn't put the same book in the same series on the same list. It just doesn't make sense. It's like putting Alice in Wonderland at number 5 and then Through the Looking Glass at number 6. Very disappointed in this part of the list. Intensity by Dean Koontz is number 83. Let's see, it's horror, thriller, suspense. It's a serial killer that breaks into a house, killing everyone but her. But then she tries to go get him. Yeah, that sounds kind of lame. I thought they would put a different Dean Koontz book on there, maybe Odd Thomas or something, but he's definitely considered a, you know, underrated author. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn is number 84. So it's weird that another book of hers is on the list so far down the line, because Gone Girl is sort of her masterpiece. I don't think she'll ever top it. But Sharp Objects is okay. It's a shorter book. Didn't quite love it. Definitely better than Dark Places. So Sharp Objects is her first book, so that's probably why it's on this list. It's also an HBO miniseries. 85 is Eye of the Needle by Ken Follett. Let's see. Oh yes, I've seen the movie starring Donald Sutherland. The movie's okay, I wouldn't read the book. Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. What thriller? Well, that's like a mystery thriller. So yeah, what list would be incomplete without Sherlock Holmes on the list, obviously. So I'm glad that's there. Moving on. The Silent Wife by A.S.A. Harrison. First and final novel. Wow. It's about the disintegration of a marriage and a wife who becomes a killer. Neither character is likable. Nice. Okay, I would read this book. I've seen it at thrift stores. The next time I see it, I'm going to grab it. For sure. That sounds good. Sounds very similar to Gone Girl. I like that. Shutter Island is number 88. They made a movie of this with DiCaprio. I don't think I'll read the book, to be honest. The movie's good. I own it on Blu-ray. I like to watch it once in a while. Number 89 is Trial by Clifford Irving. Never heard of this one. It's about a lawyer who's trying to defend two accused murderers in two separate cases. And then the two cases merge. Nah. Sounds boring. The Woman in the Window is number 90 by A.J. Finn. They made a movie of this recently with Amy Adams, and my friend recommended me the book, but I've heard mixed things about this book. That's probably why it's number 90. That's a really far down that's a far down the list. So, oh, it's written by a guy actually. Looks like the author has some controversy because he's a former editor who was called out in 2019 for the web of lies he spun about his origins and family history. By then, though, his book was a bestseller. So yeah, I don't know about that. That's kind of problematic. But I own the book. I found it for $1, so I'll probably check it out. Anatomy of a Murder by Robert Travers, number 91. They made a movie of this, a famous Otto Preminger movie, classic. Don't think I'd read the book, to be honest. The Wife Between Us is number 92, written by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. Yeah, I've heard about this one. It's like a love triangle one. I'm not interested. I see it all the time. Thrift stores, no. Jurassic Park? Are you kidding me? No! Jurassic Park's number 93? What kind of BS is this? Ugh, it's a sci-fi monster movie. Take a deep breath. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite books, and is my favorite author, to be honest, but I don't think Jurassic Park should be on a list of thrillers, okay? It is a sci-fi novel with dinosaurs that are basically clones of monsters. It is not a thriller. Let's leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. Moving on. Sorry. Come on, man. Jurassic Park on a thriller list. Come on, that's weird. All right, moving on. Murder Must Advertise by Dorothy L. Sayers. This is, she liked Agatha Christie. It's a detective story. It's about a detective investigating an advertising firm with links to murders and possible tiers to more nefarious businesses. It's not heart-pounding, but it's okay. What kind of description is that? Where'd you get this from? I'm pretty sure that Madison Troyer also wrote these little blurbs, but what kind of freaking... You don't end it with, oh, it's not that heart-pounding. What? That definitely sounds like a thriller I want to pick up. Something that's not heart-pounding. Into the Waters, number 95. It's Paula Hawkins' second book, I believe. 11 different characters. Are you kidding me? I bought this one for $1 at a thrift store. I don't know if I want to read it. 11 different people sounds confusing because, you know, I wanted to give the author another chance, but that sounds convoluted. Number 96 is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Yeah, I think we all know this. It's popular. I can see why I made it on the list. That's kind of far off. 96, it's like barely not making the list. Because Jurassic Park's a better thriller than In Cold Blood. All right, number 97 is Mistress by James Patterson. Getting a lot on there. It's a standalone thriller. Nice. It's about a man with mental illness, and he gets obsessed with things, including a woman. When the woman is found dead outside of his apartment, he's trying to find Diana's killer and finding out about her twisted life. Sounds interesting. I checked that one out for sure. Nice. All right, we're almost at the end there. The Pelican Brief by John Grisham, 1992, number 98. No, I don't care. I've seen it's his third novel, and I might have seen the movie. Yeah, I don't really like legal thrillers. In a Dark, Dark Wood is number 99 by Ruth Ware. I have not read this one, but I own it. It's nice to see her on the list a few times. Moving on. The last one, You by Carolyn Kepnes. Created a Netflix show. I've heard really good things about this one, but I've heard really shitty things about the second one, so beware. But yeah, it's a thriller that has sort of, because of the show, has sort of pushed itself forward into the whole excellent stalking thriller thing. So definitely, we'll probably check that one out too. And the show. I haven't watched the show. I want to. All right, so that is the list of the best 100 thrillers of all time. And, yeah, there's a lot of ones on there I don't think. This list is definitely not as good as well-rounded as the sci-fi list, because they've just got, like, random shit in there, like Dark Matter, Jurassic Park, and, like, dramas and stuff. Like, I'm surprised they didn't put The Goldfinch on there or something, because it has bank robber elements. So this list definitely wasn't as good. Let's just agree with that. It was written August 2020. Definitely needed a little bit more time with this one, because the blurbs also kind of suck too, because and there's a lot of like sameness kind of stuff too. They put one Karen Slaughter, they put like 3 Grisham, a couple Michael Connellys in there. There's some other thriller writers that they haven't included in there that I feel should have gotten at least a shout out, because that's what I was expecting. Maybe after number 50, when you get close to 100, you get some more underrated thrillers that you can recommend. But there's a lot of newer stuff on there, so not really sure. Obviously I'll add some to the list of my list, but I don't really rate lists, but this one's definitely not as good as the sci-fi list. So pump up your TBR, and we'll see if she writes any more.